Hi, and welcome to the Essex Junction Packet Podcast. This is an independent community briefing based on the city's publicly available agenda packet, and it's not affiliated with or endorsed by the City of Essex Junction or the Council. Let's get into it. This week's agenda covers a number of important topics, and one discussion is standing out. It's a conversation about Pearl Street and how people move through that corridor and what trade-offs the city should be willing to make in the future. The Pearl Street Multimodal Project is one of the biggest decisions in this week's packet and comes down to a relatively simple question. What should Pearl Street prioritize? Over the last several months, the city has been testing different lane configurations along Pearl Street between West Street Extension and Susie Wilson Road to help better understand how traffic moves through the corridor. Now, the testing looked at whether a single westbound lane could function effectively while creating space for other transportation improvements. The results did show that traffic generally continued to move through the corridor, although travel times were increased slightly, but vehicle speeds did decrease. Now, the council is being asked to discuss the results and provide some direction. What's interesting about this conversation is that staff are not presenting it as a right versus wrong thing. No, in fact, the data suggests that either configuration can work. The question for the council is which benefits matter most. A single westbound lane would support multimodal improvements such as a dedicated westbound bike lane, slower vehicle speeds, and potentially safer conditions for people crossing the street. Keeping two lanes would provide more room for traffic during peak periods, such as large events at the Champlain Valley Expo, but would not provide the same multimodal benefits. This is a good example of how local government decisions work. Most often, this question isn't about whether something is good or bad. The question is which set of benefits and trade-offs best align with the community's goals. The council will be discussing this exact thing this week. From transportation, the conversation shifts to another issue that could shape Essex Junction's future for years to come: economic development. The council will discuss a proposed request for proposals, or RFP, for economic development services. And the goal is to bring outside expertise to help the city develop a more formal economic development strategy. Now, this creates a good time and opportunity to explain a local government process, the RFP, or request for proposals, which is essentially the city's way of just shopping for experts. Rather than simply choosing a consultant, the city publicly describes what they want to accomplish and invites qualified firms or individuals to compete for the work. This helps create transparency, encourages competition, and allows the city to compare different ideas and approaches before making a decision. In this case, the city is looking for assistance developing strategies around business retention, business attraction, downtown vitality, and long-term economic growth. Now, residents may not notice the impact of this discussion immediately, but economic development decisions do influence everything from local business activity to future tax-based growth and community investment. And while economic development focuses on the future of the local economy, the next discussion focuses on how residents participate in local decision-making, the community engagement plan. The council will review and discuss the city's draft community engagement plan. And one thing that stood out to me in this document is that it clearly distinguishes between communication and engagement. And that distinction does matter because communication is generally one way. The city shares information. Engagement is two-way, where residents provide input, feedback, and perspectives that help inform decisions. The plan outlines how the city hopes to engage residents earlier in projects, reach people who don't traditionally participate, and improve follow-up so residents understand how their feedback influenced the final outcome. The document also emphasizes reaching renters, residents who speak a variety of languages, and other groups that may not always be represented in public discussions. This is less about any single project and more about establishing the framework of how the city works with residents moving forward. The Community Engagement Plan connects directly to another item on this week's agenda. The Council will review the results of its recent retreat and discusses priorities moving forward. These retreats are really useful because they help establish where the Council and staff intend to focus their attention over the coming year. and several priorities did emerge from that discussion. Among the highest ranked items were wastewater infrastructure to support housing, exploring alternative revenue sources, advocating for stable public transit service, economic development initiatives, recreation planning, and construction of the new public works facility. You may notice that several of these priorities connect directly to conversations already happening this week. That's how government works. Economic development, community engagement, public transit, infrastructure. In many ways, this discussion serves as a roadmap of all those future council conversations. The council is also going to hear from Amy Boudreau, Executive Director of CHIPS. CHIPS stands for Community Health Initiatives and Programs for Students and has been serving youth in the Essex community for nearly 40 years. Many residents may know CHIPS through the Essex Teen Center, which was established in 1997, and it provides a safe, substance-free place for young people to gather. Located at 2 Lincoln, thanks to an agreement started by our village trustees. Today, CHIPS provides youth programming, family support services, substance abuse prevention initiatives, community outreach, and special events for young people in Essex Junction, Essex Town, and Westford. The organization works closely with schools, families, volunteers, and other community partners to promote healthy lifestyles and positive opportunities for local youth. This will give the council an opportunity to hear directly from one of the community organizations focused on youth development and prevention programs right here in the city. The council will also receive this week an update from the department head for communications and strategic initiatives, Director Ashley Snellenberger. The discussion will highlight accomplishments from the past 6 months, including the city's rebranding effort, committee orientation improvements, and work related to strategic planning. The council will also hear about priorities for the upcoming months, including implementation in the engagement plan, ADA accessibility planning, website updates, and preparation for the next budget and work plan cycle. The update also comes as Ashley transitions out of her full-time role. However, according to the packet, she does expect to continue supporting the city remotely through at least September. Since much of the community engagement plan was developed under her leadership, residents should expect continuity with that work moving forward. Another item on the agenda is appointments to several city boards and committees. Open positions currently exist on the Brownell Library Trustees, Development Review Board, Recreation Advisory Committee, Police Community Advisory Board, and Capital Review Committee. Now, this may sound like routine administrative stuff, but look, it's worth remembering why the positions matter, because many of the ideas reach City Council only after significant discussion by volunteer boards and committees. So whether it's development review, recreation planning, public safety issues, or library governance, these groups serve as the first stop in the decision-making process. So while committee appointments rarely generate headlines, they do influence the direction of future policy discussions. After the discussion items, Council will move into the consent agenda. The consent agenda is the Council's essential bulk approval list. These typically routine, administrative, previously discussed items are expected to pass together with one vote unless a councilor wants to pull an item out for a separate discussion. This week's consent items include meeting minutes, annual appointments by the city manager, road and bridge standards, a street closure request from Meet Me on Main, and updates to the city's fraud policy. Then we move to the reading file. This is basically the city's informational inbox. These items help councilors and residents stay informed about ongoing projects, finances, committee work, and operational updates. One item worth noting is the Champlain Water District Water Quality Report, which provides residents with information about the quality and reliability of the region's drinking water system. The packet includes recent Development Review Board and Planning Commission minutes. One topic that continues to move forward through those discussions is the future form-based code associated with the Connect the Junction initiative. In simple terms, form-based codes focus less on what a building is used for and more about how buildings interact with streets, sidewalks, and public spaces. It's still early in the process, and it will become a bigger conversation in the months ahead. Another development item worth watching is the proposed Meadow Terrace subdivision. What's particularly interesting about the proposal is its connection to CTE, or the Center for Technology Essex. and the Residential Building Trades Program. The project would create future housing opportunities while giving students hands-on experience constructing homes and developing workforce skills. That's going to be it for this preview of the June 24th Essex Junction City Council meeting. If any of these topics did interest you, I encourage you to read the packet, attend the meeting, or submit public comment. The meeting is coming up at 6:30 p.m. at 2 Lincoln Street and can be viewed remotely through Town Meeting TV or Zoom. If you found this helpful, please take a moment and like the video. Subscribe to the channel, because those small actions help YouTube show these videos to more Essex Junction residents, which helps more people stay informed about what's happening right here in our community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you before the next meeting.